Ready? Play.
I guess we're about almost wrapping up on Abu Dhabi, but I did want to quickly mention Emma Raducanu. Obviously, got through the first round. Her first match, I was very happy to see the way she beat Bushkova. Kind of resisted Bushkova's attempts to kind of grind her out, and kind of was definitely outplaying her at points. I was liking how big she was going for her shots. The first time I've seen Emma going for her shots in a while. But then I felt like that she was able to compete with Ons for portions of the match, but Ons was having a good day on a hard court that day. Promising signs for this comeback for Emma still.
Yeah. Do I want to be harsh here? I'm not going to be too harsh. You're right. She played really well against Bushkova. So there's loads of positives there. But I think people need to let go of this idea that she's going to be at the top of the game. I think there's still a lot of British fans that are expecting that because she won a slam. And it's like, where's Emma's old level? I think we just need to let her do what she's going to do, see where she's going to get. My honest gut feeling is that she could break the top 50 fairly soon, and that might be as far as she goes. I just think, honestly, the run at the US Open was fantastic, and she 100% did play better than she has been playing since then. And there's clear signs that, you know, that's a peak that she could achieve. You know, that's what the argument people will make will be. But I think there was just there was something in the air that fortnight. I mean, for a qualifier to get through and not drop a single set, and a lot of those matches have their separate stories. I just feel like her winning a slam again is probably not going to happen. I would put a big bet on that. And I do think that she's a great player and she'll have the odd match where she plays really, really well. But I think it's unlikely from what I've seen, from the weaponry, you know, I've seen, if you compare that to other top players, that she kind of joins the top 10 or even 20. I think she's probably like 30 mark for me. That's my honest feeling, Nick. And I would love Emma to prove me wrong, but that's just my assessment of her game and where it stands and what's likely to happen with it.
I think the real test is, what is a player's peak and how often do they get anywhere near it? What's the B game?
Yeah.
Like, as well, because most players will be coming through on their B game or even C. And with Emma, we know her A game is enough to compete with the best in the world to beat top 20 players. Not one a top 10 player, being a top 10 player, but she can beat top 20. The question is that whether what her B game can produce, because when we see her B game, she's scrapping with top 40, top 50.
Yeah, I like that. I like that way of putting it, Nick. Because if your B game's not good enough, you don't win titles. You need a good enough B game to win titles. And the fortnight that she won the US Open, I don't think she ever had to draw on her B game. That was what was so weird about it. And the players she played almost let her play her A game. She had like Sorribes Tormo in the third round, absolute pusher. Love Sorribes Tormo, but she gave, you know, Raducanu the grounds to dictate that match. Shelby Rogers in the fourth round. She played one of the nerviest matches I've ever seen from a top 30, whatever the ranking she was at the time, player in my life. She just didn't appear, basically. Sakkari in the semi-finals. We know what Sakkari's like in slam semi-finals. She gets in her own head. She wasn't able to deliver. Fernandez in the final, you know, fellow just like out of nowhere player. There's a lot of stories to that US Open run, and I don't think it's indicative of what you actually have to do to win a slam most of the time.
I read that slam run differently. I think the only player I thought played badly of the ones that she beat was Bencic.
Really? The other way around? Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. I thought that, maybe not badly, but quarterfinal was the one match that Emma looked wobbly.
Yeah.
And gritted it out with Bencic. But I thought Sakkari tried to come out firing in that semi-final, and Emma's level surprised her. And then Fernandez, that was straight sets, but it was super competitive.
Yeah, it was
all of those two sets. It was a really, really good. The match didn't deserve to always be 6-4, 6-3 or whatever it was. 6-2, 6-4. It was just back and forth all the way. I think a bit like with Ostapenko. Like Ostapenko was another sort of where did that come from slam run, and she has started and like she's shown her A game since, but not at the biggest tournaments.
Yeah,
picking it up. But now she's figured out how to be consistent.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Consistent at her A game. You're right. She just doesn't draw her. She doesn't have a B game. She just never ever. When she does, she's like losing to top. What was it like? She almost lost to that 700 franc player. Not to slight the 700 franc player. I'm sure she's a good player, but Ostapenko at her best. I mean that it shows you just the peaks and troughs of that A game are mad.
So should we just say that Emma Raducanu's B game is higher than Jelena Ostapenko's B game?
Yeah, 100% is. 100% is. And yeah, look, Nick, I feel like sometimes people maybe are just like, what are you talking about when I say this sort of stuff about Emma? But honestly, it's been, coming up for 3 years now. By the time it gets to the US Open, when did she win the US Open? 2021?
2021, yeah. But she is also... She won it when she was 18. She's still a developing player. She
is. That's kind of what I mean. Like, just see what happens. But don't use the US Open as a benchmark.
I'm certainly not predicting Emma to win another slam in 2024. The landscape doesn't allow for it.
Yeah.
Really. You've got Iga, Elena, Arena, and Coco who've got it kind of locked down, and someone's got to have to prove that they can join them. And the level they're setting is so high that very few people can consistently do that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'd be fair to expect Emma to do the same. I feel the same about Osaka right now.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to see where that goes, but I agree with you. Definitely. Yeah.